In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has told presidential aspirants in the All Progressives Congress to go to the field and sell their candidacies to the electorate. An undisclosed source in the presidency was quoted as saying that the president did not discourage anyone from contesting, but rather he advised them not to compromise the integrity of the APC and the federal government in their campaigns. More than 8 aspirants in the ruling party have declared their interest to take over from the president when his tenure expires on May 29, 2023. And to discuss these developments in the governing All Progressives Congress, we're now being joined by Prince Mustapha Audu, a member of the APC and former governorship aspirant from Kogi State. Very warm welcome, Mustapha. Nice seeing you again. At least the storm is over. The calm is here now. Absolutely. And the party leadership has rolled out, its timetable for its general elections primary, beginning with those of the Houses of Assembly. How satisfying is this to members?
To be honest, this is extremely satisfying. First of all, good evening to all Nigerians. I'm always glad to be here. We're so happy that the APC has finally had the convention and it's done and dusted. There were a lot of people predicting that the party was going to fall apart, but I guess those naysayers have been put to shame. The rest of the party members were actually very happy with the situation of things, with the way the timetables have been spelled out, with the pricing of the forms, with the people that have been given opportunity. We've seen that a lot of young people have come up at the convention, so we expect that, especially for Houses of Assembly and House of Representatives, we're going to have a lot of young people emerge, as new members. So we're very happy. I believe the APC is on track.
And the cost of forms. I mean, quite a number of people are saying, how can the youths, afford as much as 20, 30, 40 million?
To be honest, if you look at it, we had a few people in the convention. We had that ran for chairmanship and other positions. For example, Mohamed Etsu. He ran his campaign, and within a few hours he raised the money, online. There's so many ways now. We had another young fellow who didn't make it for the position of youth leader, I think Shegun Dada. He raised his money online on Twitter. He raised 5 million in less than 24 hours. So as long as young people can aspire other young people, I believe this new age of crowdfunding has changed things, So I'm quite happy. Also, if you make the form free or you make it too cheap, people don't attribute value to it. You have so many contestants, people that don't really have...
So the stake must be high.
Yes. So
okay, let's quickly move away from there. There's been in the rumor mill that, the APC is going to pick a consensus candidate, particularly for its presidential ticket. But it's very clear and obvious now that Mr. President has said, go to the field and campaign. So we're going to see a presidential primary.
Absolutely. And what people even need to understand about consensus is spelled out in the Constitution. So if people do not agree to step down, then there will be a race. But, fortunately, it's not coming to that. I honestly believe that APC has the finest candidates running for presidential election. We have about 8 candidates. All of them have significant pedigree, and we expect them to slug it out at the primaries. Us as young stakeholders, we've met, I think, majority, if not all, the people running for president. And we've tried to carve out what they have for us as young stakeholders, and we're quite happy with what a lot of them have to offer. And whatever the party decides, whatever the aspirants decide to do, we expect that to be in line with what Mr. President has said. We want a lot of friendly competition. This, at the end of the day, everyone needs to come together once the primaries are done, to support the candidate that emerges. Whoever emerges, I'm sure, will carry everybody along. So I'm quite happy with the situation of things, and I believe that the peace is finally reigning in the APC. I don't think anyone will be shortchanged, and if that should happen, I think there are mechanisms in place to correct those kind of errors or issues that happen. So to be honest...
There's still the thorny issue of zoning.
To be honest, if you look at it, zoning is not enshrined in our constitution, but what is in our constitution is equity, fairness, and justice. And if you look at it, people have said, you know, power, you look at it in two ways now. People have said power has been in the north, therefore it should shift to the south, which is a form of zoning. While others have said, well, northwest has had power, some other places have had power, therefore let other places that haven't had power, especially in the north, you know, allow them
How
to.
about in the southeast, you're saying?
Absolutely, in the southeast, I think we have 3 or 4 people running from the southeast. We have His Excellency, the Governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi. We have the Chief Whip of the Senate, His Excellency Ojus Okalu. So we have fine gentlemen running from the southeast, and at the end of the day, to be honest, whoever emerges, I honestly believe they have the potential and the pedigree to lead this nation. So I'm not bothered about that. But zoning is important at this early stage, formative stage of our democracy and of the nation. You know, we're a relatively young nation. We're only about 60 odd years old. So people need to understand that the essence of zoning is just to make sure that other people, especially minority groups, feel as if the country is also their country. You know, yes, democracy is about, you know, numbers, it's about majority carrying the vote. But in this case, you have to look at it, look at the dynamics of each place.
Balance and give a sense of belonging to everybody.
Absolutely. So it's not like, you know, zoning is a must. Zoning is not a must, but zoning is a guide, and that guide is in place to make sure that everybody
carries everybody along. Yeah. Okay, very quickly is another thorny issue. You know, when you look at the Electoral Act, where political office holders must resign. You know, I think about 90 days or so, or thereabouts, or so before primary elections, or is it 180 days? You know. And you still have some interested parties who are serving ministers, like the transportation minister, for example. Even the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, although he's not come out to say he wants to run, but we hear he wants to go in for the governorship of Kogi State, and they are yet to resign.
Well, to be honest, I think the rules takes care of some of these things. You know, if you end up going into a competition and you haven't followed the rules, then it's not even the party. INEC will disqualify the person, because INEC so far has followed the rules and the guidelines of everything that has been done. They've set the timetable, they've set the pace, they know the people who are actually in office right now. So should they go into the primaries, INEC will say that whether they are eligible to run or not. So I don't think it's for me to say, because I don't know the full details and intricacies, because the last time people said the Attorney General was going to run, he himself came out and said, I haven't said so. You know, so I would not.
Well, May is here. We would know and see those who will run and those who won't, and would know those whose candidacy will be accepted by the electoral umpire.
Likewise, even the head of this.
I just want to quickly thank you, because we've run out of time.